guys, and welcome back to the BSOC Bulletin for this week. My name's Angela, I'm one of the publications directors, and I'm joined by Reva here, which is a publications subcommittee member, as well as Thulaisi.
Hi guys, how's it going?
How are you? Very good on this fine morning. So, I guess to kick us right off, just give a brief introduction of who you are and I guess what you do.
Sure. So my name is Thulaisi. I've been an academic professionally, a father now of two boys. So it's been good. I've got two boys under 2, so a lot of fun. Professionally, I worked in corporate, and then took a bit of time off, did a sabbatical, and then found my way into academia along the way. So. Yeah, that's who I am professionally, but personally, father, all that sort of stuff.
No worries. So your life must be pretty busy, hey?
Oh yeah, we joke amongst all the guys that have kids is that like coming to work is a holiday for us.
Yeah. All right. So I guess kind of expanding on that, what exactly is your role at UNSW?
So my role is an ACC at in one of the subjects in the IFY, and that is. COM 1170, which is organisational resources. So I've just been put onto that at the moment, and it seems like a really interesting subject. And I think the IFY is also an interesting concept. Just to hear this, and I've been in academia for about 10 years, it was kind of novel to actually see this approach to education. Initially, I think when I first started, I was like, it was jarring, but going through the process, I'm actually thinking that this is like a really good way and a really good approach to university education. Yeah, but it has its teething issues along the way, but that'll iron itself out, I think.
No, definitely. So we've both been through or currently going through the integrated first year courses. I really reckon it's great for students who don't really know what avenues they want to go into yet to kind of just get a feel for everything. Definitely heard from like the older students like, oh, you guys have it so tough, like it must be, difficult for you guys going through these integrated first year courses before you can actually start your major. But I really am seeing kind of the benefits of that because, skills are definitely transferable from course to course.
Just before.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Obviously, being a first year, I feel like it's a good way to actually experience different avenues, like Angela said. So I know it touches upon like all the different finance sectors. So like accounting, you've got a bit of finance, a bit of like Excel stuff, a bit of like coding and stuff. So I feel like it's a really good program that UNSW is running.
I think I can see I think the initial subjects have a bit more finance to it, but it's got, I think the overall subject matter is quite good. And the reason why I say this is I reflect on like my wife who is in business and is a product manager and people that work with different products have to have like a diverse range of skills. And the funny thing is, she never studied business, but she has a lot of business skills along the way. And I think how she learnt that was this sort of iterative process of back and forth and back and forth. And I think this is what the IFY is kind of trying to tap into. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So on our podcast, what we're introducing this season is we have kind of a gimmick for every podcast. So this one is, have you heard anything about UNSW folklore or kind of like rumors surrounding the campus, anything like that?
Not really.
Not really?
No. Yeah, sorry, I haven't heard anything.
Well, do I have a treat for you? So we have a couple of, I guess, rumors, and we're going to just run them by, and you just tell us if you think they're true or false.
Okay.
Yeah. So, do you want to pick one? There are a couple.
The first one. There is a secret pathway through our campus. True or false?
I'd say true.
True. Where do you think it would be?
Maybe, I don't know, to the hospital. Who knows? I don't know.
All right. So, it is in fact true.
So there's actually a secret underground tunnel in UNSW that is used only in circumstances that resemble an emergency. And rumor has it that it stands near the lawn outside the library.
Yeah, it's like the science lawn.
The science lawn. And there's a tight passageway up near the IT center, near the lawn as well, on the side of it.
Yeah, the UNSW facilities management have actually confirmed that it exists, but they were unable to disclose the location, hence the secret pathway.
Cool.
I reckon we should explore that one day.
You reckon we should explore that? Probably be a good podcast to be on. Right, so we'll jump into our next question. Do you want to ask us?
What do you find enjoyable about teaching business?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, you got me on that. I think what I enjoy about teaching, first of all, is the ability to have that back and forth with students. One of those sort of things is like being able to communicate and able to break down tasks that are difficult to comprehend. I hope I'm able to do that. I think also creating and facilitating an environment where students can feel comfortable to give me feedback. Yeah. I think that is something that I strive for. And I enjoy. I actually learn a lot from the students itself, right? Like, I think that for me is part of it. So remembering that you guys are learning and I'm also learning at the same time to understand what you guys are going through. Business, on the other hand, I enjoy business because it's always evolving. You look at business now from where it was. The fundamentals don't change, right? But the technology has just been crazy. Like the speed at which technology has changed, the processes have changed, the way in which social media is now really like in sync with our lives. I think that also is something. But thinking about that, also understanding that there needs to be a space for downtime. I think organizations are starting to realize that. Universities are starting to realize that a bit more. So in saying why I like teaching was facilitating that sort of environment. And in business, I think it's always evolving and you're always learning. So I think that's what I enjoy.
Yeah. And just with that, what's been your proudest teaching moment that you've had?
Oh, dude, you wouldn't believe. I had it like last term. I had an email from a student. So she came up and she was a bit upset that her assignment was like she didn't do so well in the assignment. And then, we sat down and I explained it, and she got a fail grade, and she wasn't happy about the fail grade and tried to explain. I said, listen, you know what? Sometimes in life you've got to fail, right? Sometimes in life you've got to fail. You haven't addressed these things, and it's clear you haven't. But in that, it's a real sort of teaching moment or a learning moment for you to go away and say, all right, what didn't I do well in this sort of situation? I think there's a lot of pressure to be like successful straight away from the first go. And I can tell you that it's not the case. But what she did do after that was really apply herself from that failure. And I got an email saying, look, it was a really good grade in her final. And that learning moment of being able to fail taught her so much.
Right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things you'll always realize, that to succeed, you have to be vulnerable enough to fail.
Yeah.
I think that was probably like the proudest sort of teaching moment. I mean, yeah.
So we'll jump back into another, I guess, fact or cap or truth or lie about UNSW's campus. So have you ever seen a concert at the Roundhouse? No.
Ages ago.
Yeah. Well, who was it? Do you remember? They're always playing something on at night. Always like sounds so lively. Our fact or cap this round is the Roundhouse only holds concerts to help grow local student talent. True or false?
I'd say false.
Why is that?
because I think they might have done other like actual artists there. So yeah, ages ago. But.
Ages ago. Well, I am happy to tell you that is actually false. So it's actually housed global superstars such as Fall Out Boy, 21 Pilots, BTS, which I don't know about, which is really strange because the Roundhouse seems like such a small like venue. Our City and Jack Harlow soon. Yeah, a fan of any of these artists?
I haven't heard. Like maybe Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, Fall Out Boy.
But I haven't heard the other guys. What's BTS?
BTS is like the huge K-pop.
Oh wow! Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Did they just announce that they're going to break up, or do like?
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah, I heard something on. Like,
Yeah.
on the
I actually
news
didn't
about
know that.
Huh?
Wow. You learn something new every day.
Yeah. Sorry to break the bad news to
Yeah,
you,
sorry,
like
geez.
on the podcast. All right. So you mentioned that you were working in corporate for a little bit before going back into academia. So I guess what really made you come to that decision that you wanted to keep studying and wanted to, I guess, learn more?
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, especially after working in like corporate for is it 8? Was it 8 years?
It was about 8
Yeah.
years. So when I graduated, it was the GFC, and the only place that was hiring was insolvency and turnaround work. And I had the greatest time working in that industry. It was good. However, there came a point in my life when I was a bit older. I finished my CA, and I just didn't know where I was going. So I took stock of what I was doing, and I really wanted to work on something that I, had a plan to do, and that was like creating a web series.
Yeah.
So I took some time off, quit my job, gave myself a timeline, about 3 to 4 years. Made the web series. The first 6 months I bludged, I have to admit. Like I just sat on the couch eating cereal. But then, got things together. But academia came along the way while I was still, doing the sabbatical where I was teaching at UTS for a while. And then, like, people just said, look, you seem to be good at this. Like, you seem to be able to do the sort of breaking down of hard constructs. You communicate well, you facilitate. Is this something that you might do going forward? And I haven't really thought about it. I kind of stumbled into academia. It wasn't something that I set up going into. Didn't even know it was a career path. And along the way, I decided, okay, this seems to be where, I fit best. So that was the journey. It was organic in that sense. It wasn't a planned sort of thing. What was planned was, working in an accounting firm, doing all of that sort of stuff was planned. But what was unplanned was the, taking stock and just working through it. And academia seems to be a really good fit for me. Real chilled out vibe, but it's still a lot of work. You still do a lot of hard work, but it's, I didn't like wearing the suit, so I have to admit. So that was one thing. So that was that sort of, it was an organic journey.
Right, definitely. So I guess you mentioned you didn't like wearing the suit. Maybe corporate was just, so I guess, are there any other main differences that you noticed between, I guess, working in academia and then working in corporate? And then are any of those skills that you learnt, maybe working in corporate, transferable to working now in academia?
Oh, definitely. I think both have their spheres. I think academia has kind of aligned a little bit more to corporate style work. I think there is a lot more measurement of performance that's coming into consideration. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Everyone's, I think that there's an element of, measuring in academia is not the right thing, blah, blah, blah. I think there's an element of it that is good for the industry. I think one of the good things about corporate was it taught me how to be more regimented. And I think one of the things talking to my first year students is like keeping a diary, holding a diary and keeping a diary. And the reason is it's so that you are on a physical diary. Like everyone uses the iPhones or whatever. I think a physical diary is always good to do, and part of that is like to be able to reflect on what you've done. You might have this is what I did on this day, but just reflecting on how did that make me feel? Where did I take initiative? Where did I do something well? The other thing is recognizing your failures. I think that is a really cool thing to do. And I'll share this story with you guys. I remember my manager used to be quite tough on me, and I didn't mind that. I like looking back retrospectively. I think about it, and I'm like, I didn't mind that, because what it made me do was I created a wall of shame. A wall of shame meaning the stuff that I'd stuffed up, correspondence that I'd got wrong or whatever. And the reason for that was it was really good for me from a motivational perspective. Now, it might be different for different people, I get that. But that was something that I did. And it pushed me to like change my sort of behavior, be more regimented when it came to the, drafting up correspondence and making sure I take attention to detail. I think that definitely helped me a lot. I think students can do that as well. When it comes to their assignments, not just handing in their first draft, just really getting the opportunity to, reread and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Sweet.
Yeah, so for the next question, are there any current business developments going on that we young people aren't actually paying attention to?
Yeah, I think young people have kind of taught us a lot as well. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of pieces of technology and processes that, we just didn't even know. And I'll give you an example of this, is the buy now, pay later way of life. I think it's circa 2017, 2018. And I remember buy now, pay later coming out. And I was like, what is this product? I don't understand this product. Blah, blah, blah. And it was asking my first years, how many of them use buy now, pay later? And it was like 95% of just all of them. And I was like, what? What's going on? And so I don't know if, in the sense that if you guys are like picking up stuff that we as older people just are not able to get. I think the area of sustainability, understanding how do we actually link the profit orientation of organizations to sustainability outcomes. That is a challenge. It's an area of growth. I think that a lot of people have to work out. And I remember listening to a Bloomberg podcast about this, where in India, I think previously there was the notion that it was considered to be a hindrance, but someone, I think it was from Tata, where they said, no, it's actually an opportunity for us. It's actually a for-profit opportunity. So I think being able to like reframe things is one way to kind of look at things. I think, I used to be a big, I used to poo-poo Bitcoin and crypto and stuff like that. Yeah. I think there is a space for that. I think there is going forward, like thinking about my sons going forward, I think they're going to use crypto. We're going to use some level of crypto. If you were to think about, the first time someone came to a trader with a $5 note or something, it's like, what's this? Before the barter system. Yeah. I think crypto's got that. I think there is an element of that. I was talking to someone about this earlier. In India, for example, when they got rid of the, I think it was a 500 rupee note, what happened was a lot of people put it on their phone credit, which is called Paytm, and so you could transact using phone credit.
Right.
So the leap isn't that far from phone credit to crypto. How it looks like, I don't know. But there is something there.
Yeah. I guess, how do you think courses or education would change in regards to, I guess, the emergence of crypto? Do you think it would be taught in classes more, or maybe the structure of our classes would change?
It's a good question. And I think the fundamentals are still the same.
Yeah.
Like there is like the transaction takes place between one person and the other.
Yeah.
It will change as more regulation comes into it.
Yeah.
It's funny, I was talking to friends about this, and I think, banks see themselves as tech companies and tech companies see themselves as banks.
Yeah.
Right? So I think the business community will find ways to actually get this on board. How it'll look like in courses is something I don't have an answer for, but I think there is development around that. Right, there is development around that, but what it'll look like, I just don't know the answer to.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I see. So I think we have time for one last question. So I guess to younger students who maybe don't really know how to kickstart their careers or don't really know which industries to start looking into, how would you suggest they go about changing their mindset or go about, I guess, moving along with their careers? That's a big question. I know. That's a hefty question. Just, so maybe like any first steps or any directions to look, people to look for guidance from, anything like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can only recast my mind to when I was young, and I can tell you that I did not take an appropriate approach.
Right.
I just, I sat back and things came reasonably okay for me, but that wasn't because I had a plan. I never had a plan when it came to that. I probably had a plan in my second and third year, and I didn't have a plan in my first year. So what I could possibly tell you guys, and the reason why I say this is I've got two cousins who their kids are about your age, and they're both doing business. What I do for them is I curate content, business content, and I'll send it to them. So that they are, I don't know if they just look at me like a crazy uncle and just be like, why is he sending this? I'm like, I don't know why I'm on this thread or whatever. But I ask them questions around that. I think the best thing for young students is to start asking questions, right? More recently, I have, developed mentorship with like older people in at a board level. That's for my own sort of personal growth. I wish I had done that at a younger age. A mentorship, and I think is important when you're developing. But make sure your mentor is someone that is not your direct relative, or find someone that is outside your scope. And I think remembering that developing mentorship relationships is a two-way channel. As much as they give you, you've got to give stuff back. And so that requires you to do some work. How that might change your careers, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? That is your own personal journey, I think. And I think the way in which careers now happen, it's fluid. It's a lot more fluid than it was previously. I think the way in which products change, organizations change, you guys will go through multiple sort of jobs, maybe even professions. I don't know, but I see that as being the case, purely because technology allows us to do that. So don't think that your first job is the rest of your life sort of job. I think that's the way to go. And the other thing is build a network, right? And what I mean by that is reach out to as many people as possible. So even if you're working in business, try and find people in engineering. Try and find people in science, just to understand what they're doing, because the intersect of business is connecting those things. Right. So that's what I could possibly give you guys as a way to talk about it.
Yeah, I see. Is there anything you would say to students who kind of know they need to seek out a mentorship, or I guess know they have to start looking at resources and are trying to, but I guess they're very anxious to start. None of their friends have started. They want to get their foot in the door first, but they kind of just don't know. Something's holding them back. Is there anything, like any words of advice you might impart on them?
Cool. Yeah, I think that's a difficult thing for a lot of people. I think at 18 or 19 or 20, whatever, you are apprehensive. You are a little bit scared. What if this person thinks that I'm weird, or this person thinks I'm... What's the worst that could happen? They say no.
Yeah.
Right? The worst thing, and you know, people have said no to us before, and it took me like a good maybe 4 or 5 years to realize that, and then I just started writing letters, emails to people that I want to get in touch with, and then I realized people just want to help. People want to be liked. At the core of it, right? Like no one walks around going, oh, you know what, I want to be hated. Yeah. Right? People genuinely like to be liked, and people generally like to help people. So if, you know, a student is willing to get in touch with someone, people will respond. They will either say, look, I don't have the time right now, or maybe I've got too many people right now that I'm looking after. But the best way to follow up on that is, could you recommend me someone else that I can go talk to? Right? It doesn't, never let the lead just stop. Right? I think that's an important skill for a lot of people to do, is not badger, but it's just more, just follow up. Because people generally realize that you're looking to be a go-getter. That you understand that there are limitations to where you are at the moment, and that you want to move past those limitations. And generally people are willing to help out. Like, you know, Vin asked me to, you know, do this podcast, and I said, yeah, sure, mate. Look, X, Y, and Z, these are the dates, and I'm happy to do and spend some time. I think a lot of people will do that if you ask them. And all you have to do is put it out there. And once it's out there, let the world decide. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think that's a great piece of advice. I know a lot of my friends, I don't know, Reba, if you feel the same, but, you know, once they get told no, they're just like, oh, they feel so dejected. They, like, really just stop right there. Don't want to look into, you know, anything else. Are your friends the same?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's, like, pretty common with young people, like, being told no and, like, feeling like rejected, I guess. But I guess just moving on past that, like having a growth mindset.
Yeah, like what you said, really reflecting on that and just taking learning lessons going forward. Yeah.
Cool. Yep, so a final fact or cap, we have a secret mansion on campus. Is it fact or cap?
I just realised what cap meant now. Oh my god! I was like, no problem. I say cap, man.
You say cap? Why is that?
I don't know where it is.
Well, apparently we actually do. I don't know where it would be on Kensington campus, but it's called Cliffbrook House. It's actually heritage listed, and it's a beachside sandstone mansion located right on Gordons Bay and right next to Clovelly Beach. Yeah, which is...
Oh, yeah, it is. I know where it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've never seen this before, actually. Have you walked past it?
No, someone was telling me that they were working out of it.
Like, oh, really?
10 years ago or ages ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. Okay, cool.
Just thank you for joining us in our third episode of the BSOC Bulletin, and thank you to Thulaisi for coming and sharing us with some of your wise advice and tips.
Cool. No, I enjoyed it. Thanks, guys. And
Thank you so much. Yeah.